Good morning to you, Tim. I see that you're on here. We have Tim Vasco, who's our Chief Executive Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain, who is currently traveling and pretty psyched to talk about what we're going to talk about this morning, Tim.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, Dan. It's great to be here, and we've been doing a lot of work. I'm working from the road, as you can see, or more appropriately, from the sea.
Right. Just to frame this up, one of the things I sent out in our email is, are you tired of being tracked, hacked, and hijacked? And it's never more true. It seems like every single week we have another hack or another data breach. And we'll talk a little bit about centralized versus decentralized here. But we just want to remind everyone just how important it is that we look at what's happening in the world today. And if you look at the fact that the companies at a record-breaking rate are being hacked and data is being exposed. Last year, over 2,950 large companies were hacked and breached with over 30 billion records. Just incredible how many records that were exposed. And it happens every single week. And Tim, it just happened again this week. And unfortunately, if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, it might have happened to you.
Well, and as you say, Dan, we've been talking about the critical nature of Web 3.0 security, what we've released with our wallets, as well as our platform. And as our Chief Security Officer, Jules, who many people have met now, said, I want my privacy back. And, you know, the reality is there are three really good examples of how concerning this is and how important this is. And as we roll out our platforms and announce some of our new programs that we'll be announcing on World from Here next week, you'll see that we've already addressed this within the BlockCerts platform, and blockchain Web 3.0 technologies are really the only solution to this. So first of all, 50 million people's personal data breached at T-Mobile, huge problem. And it says about 7.8 million of its current postpaid customers account and 40 million records of former or prospective customers that have applied for credit has been breached. So it's a big deal. This kind of reminds me when Equifax got hammered with 140 million people. And it's not slowing down, and it's not stopping, and the ransomware attacks and things are continuing. These telcos have massive amounts of our data. They're following us, tracking us, and this identity theft is going to be so significant. You can see over here in this ad, as vaccine passport programs roll out, well, we are on the verge of announcing our vaccine passport in the wallet, and a way to avoid this idea of data breach and hacking. And finally, in Montreal, Quebec, there was already a hack of the QR code, and the hackers claim they cracked the Quebec's vaccine QR code, and but the government says they're completely secure. So this idea of security and hacking is not going away. In fact, it is a mandate now that these new technologies that we can achieve are part of our everyday life. And that's why we've designed what we did. We didn't do it overnight. It took us 5 years to build this out. We're launching it overnight. We're launching it within the as versions come out over the next few weeks. And we're tying that all back to this idea of decentralized, including DeFi and decentralized models for business, really.
Yeah, and Tim, one of the things I think back, because I worked at MCI and Quest and in the telecom world, is even many years ago, about 15 years ago, those systems were legacy systems that were patched together from buying other telcos. And it's a full system that's built on old legacy technology. And that's what's really significant about Web 3.0 and where we're playing is that we've built on a new technology in a new stack. And I think that's really important to note.
Well, I can't imagine, and I said this before, but I can't imagine anybody wanting another data silo, another password, another login, another piece of software when they're trying to get things done in their lives. But this whole internet is built that way. The entire current internet and all of the business models around the internet are built around siloed technology. And I've said this before, the Silicon Valley model of the quote sticky customer. Right. And the sticky customer means we own your data, we control your data, and we control the tools to access your data. And that's what all of these business models have been built around, Dan. So the mandate of building the platform, the technology platform we use today was get customers in, capture all their data, make it so it's incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for them to leave. And we've created this web like a spider of a centralized format that allows companies to control. Well, what happens when those companies control fails or they get hacked? That's the problem. So, you know, it's not just a matter of convenience. It's not just a matter of we want our privacy back. It's a matter of this whole structure was designed for ideally to be perfect bullet point targets to go attack data. And it's data all over the place. Like the Verizon data, the T-Mobile data, 50 million people that was seeking credit is going to be the same data that was duplicated, that was a Equifax data, because you're going after FICO scores and looking at that. So each of these silos created an issue. And until we break that centralization up, which is exactly what we're doing, and give it back to people who control their own data and control their own access, it's not going to get better. And that's why Web 3.0 is so critical. It's Absolutely. Integrated thinking and decentralized thinking as opposed to centralized thinking. Absolutely. And there's going to be huge resistance to that because there's so much profit being made by centralized organizations.
Yeah, well, it's, people, it's oppressing the people, it's taking advantage of the people. It's what happens when you have a monopoly. And, we really have 4 or 5 companies that are ruling the world with data, and, it's all integrated into one place, like you said, where there is a target. Come get me. The data's right here, versus decentralized all over the world.
There's little motivation, has been little motivation until now. Now we have this pandemic. We have this surge as the Verizon data report, and as you illustrated, but going back to the data report, it says pandemic has caused a major surge in phishing, ransomware attacks, all of those things. Well, why is that? Well, it's that because everything has gone digital. Right. So there is no longer this idea of the Internet of Things, smart watches and things like that. Great watch, by the way, Garmin sailing watch. But it's the Internet of everything. It's the digital of everything. It's what has allowed our economy to continue to grow and thrive and survive during this pandemic. So it's only natural that as we come out of the pandemic, and we've already now realized that work from home, all these things we talk about on the world from here, and it is the world from here, not the world we're going back to, but the world we're going toward, that we're trying to achieve as a society, as also as a platform market. And that's the real disruption. The fundamental disruption is the business model. Right. Fundamental disruption is using the technologies that exist already and putting them together in a new business model, Web 3.0. That's what BlockCerts is about. That's our mission. And that's why we always say, with our Be Certain product and platform line, cloud power to the people. Because
yeah, and I was going to ask you, Tim, what that means to you, because we've been saying it here recently, and I think people don't really know that they can control. They don't have to be tracked, et cetera. So tell me a little bit about what you think, what that means to you, cloud power to the people.
Well, cloud power to the people means, every time we pick up a device, every time we do what we're doing right here, every time we do a click, we are providing data. Data, every single time we do anything, it's called a data change event. And it's data about us. At an increasing scale, because of the way data is structured, I actually wrote an article about privacy of data in Forbes in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. I don't know if you remember that, Dan,
right.
But maybe we should repost that. We'll repost that on our new upcoming BlockCerts.com blog site so people can read that. Right. But this idea of data and the way the tracking technology has come about is now able to be handed off or de-identified in a way that allows people to control who gets to see access to that. So if an attack happens, if that data is encrypted and I hold the private key, I have my own cloud power and I hold the private key, and the data is accessed, what's actually being accessed is encrypted data. It can't be read by humans. That's what blockchain does. And that's why when we've heard of breaches in blockchain, it's always been a hack to take a Bitcoin or take a digital asset. It's not actually creating new digital assets. In other words, it's the same Bitcoin. It's an encrypted technology, right?
Right.
And there's, to date, never been a way to create a fake Bitcoin. If there was, it would crash the market. There's never been a way to create a fake Ethereum. And there's not a way to create a fake block or a fake transaction or asset on BlockCerts. There's no way to do that. So the idea of cloud power to the people is two things, very simply. Control the data. Well, the problem with data, and this is where people really miss, is data is configured to be read by software. It's pretty worthless. It's really difficult to just look at raw data and reassemble it to make it useful. Right? You have to be a coder, a programmer, a data scientist, and things like that. Like we do this all day long. So there are tools that what most of us see just make it simple to use all these things, right? So it's those two things that provide power to people. It's the data and the tools. And when you combine that with this private key technology, you have given cloud power to the people. So you've broken the back of what has been the holdup or the biggest power of centralized powers. You've given people control over their own data, their own tools, and their own encryption technology to say, oh, now I can do what I need to do without having to become a coder or a programmer or a geek, right? And that's cloud power to the people.
Awesome. So protect what's important to you, your identity, your data, what you're sending out as a company, and protect your customers, own your own data, and use your own data versus having 4 or 5 different companies that are controlling your data. Even if you're a business, do you really own and control your own data? It's really controlled elsewhere.
That's right. If you're a business, somebody else controls your data. And we've talked about paywalls. We've talked about if you need to scale up or scale down and you've already got all of these seat fees that you have to pay, you'll get locked out. Just that simple. You don't even need a breach or a hack. All you need to do is be able to scale down your business, and the centralized authority says no. Right.
Or have a credit card that expires. Which happens to many companies, and before you can get that new credit card on there, you're locked out of your data. So
that's right. So all of these things are the issues and problems we've been addressing for many years. That's what we've rolled out already in beta format to all of our token holders. And it's this idea of user community and stakeholder actual control as opposed to centralized control. And that's why I'm super excited about what we're launching, what we've been working hard for, to level the playing field globally, literally level the playing field globally, and get rid of this idea of the sticky data, sticky customer, sticky model. And bringing that together with all the evolutions in DeFi, all the evolutions in tokenomics, all the things we hear about, is really what I've been working on all summer long with our teams. Right. And our big launch of this idea of the disruptive business model hits, I guess, right after the long weekend, right, Dan?
Exactly. Well, it's pretty exciting. Do you want to talk about giving people a choice now? We've got about 10 more minutes here, and it's something that, as you said, we've been working on for almost 4 years since I've been here, and all the elements are here and ready to go, and it's very exciting to talk about this.
I will, little spoiler alert, I'll talk about the BlockCerts Choice program. The Choice program will be that every person on the planet can have a choice of how they get their software and how they get their control. And this choice will all be centered around, is all centered around the token, the BCert token, and the BCertain wallet.
Right.
Once you have that, you have the choice. You use it however you want to. Some people are in business, some people aren't. But we all are in this pandemic together. Correct. So we've released and are releasing our choice, our technology, and now our choice program that levels the playing field, and everybody gets equal access. You want to go start a business? This is the entrepreneur's cloud. I am an entrepreneur. I've always been an entrepreneur. Since I was 9 years old, I've been an entrepreneur. I've been able to work with our teams all over the world and create the entrepreneur's cloud. And I'm super excited about that. It's been my life's work and dream to be able to deliver this to the globe. On top of that, we've got people in over, I think, 12 or 13 countries now across 5 continents, all leveling this, so everybody in all those continents can either use their technology, or, if they want to create a business.
Right.
Because everybody has the same access to that power. It's decentralized. And as a token holder, you're a stakeholder. So that means all these terms that you've heard as we start rolling out now, staking, what that means in real terms besides just speculation, or farming, or annual percentage yield, or swapping, or liquidity pools. All those things tied into the actual utility of the cloud have been done now. And literally we are down to details of what it all works, and it's all in beta in our token holders' hands right now, but how to use it and how to reshape that business model of the cloud globally is right here. And it's like literally weeks away from more and more people being able to have access. People have access. The utility's been done for some time now, but it's testing, stabilizing, and making it as reliable as possible in today's technology.
Absolutely. And in the past, it was only available to traders, Wall Streeters, and this just opens up a new world. Peer-to-peer lending, it opens up a world to, as you're talking about staking and farming, et cetera, to put tokens there to earn a yield and to receive benefits back that you couldn't receive from a bank right now.
Well, I want to point out the fact, too, that the way current business models exist, centralized companies have management teams that control everything, and that's done for the benefit of shareholders. Interestingly and oddly enough, and there's a litany of literature about this over the years, the stakeholders of the enterprise are not necessarily have the same interest as the stakeholders of the shareholders. So that's been yet another silo that's been created. So this real brilliance of Web 3.0 and technology and the digitalization of everything is that we are bringing this true user community stakeholders together in a similar or exact same model of what stakes actually mean. The stakes of the enterprise, the growth of the enterprise, and the rewards of the enterprise for being a successful platform. That's what the cloud should be about. It's a utility. And so, everything we use, these are utilities. That's what they are. And this is what we depend on for our communication for so many things. I depend on these when I'm out in the middle of the ocean. And so, you don't want to be able to be dependent on something going down because a centralized authority made that decision. Well, it's not maybe in your best interest as a stakeholder. So bringing this again, Web 3.0 is more about the business model now. The technology exists, and it just needs to be assembled in a whole new kind of creative model. That's what we've been working on for so many years.
Yeah, and Tim, I just want everybody to know that I just posted up the Forbes article that you were talking about, and I put a link in there for you as well, Tim. But it's called Our Data DNA Inside the Black Box of Big Profits, Privacy, Fines, and Freedom. And you wrote that, let me look at this, a year ago, April 2020.
Yeah, right at the beginning of this whole lockdown thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it continues to get worse from even when you were posting that into Forbes.
That's right. So anyway, Dan, I wanted to just say those things. Keep it short today.
Yep.
We got so much to roll out. Just the spoiler alert, watch for the BlockCerts Choice program. We called it Choice because it needs to be people's choice, that are our token community, token holders building the foundation of BlockCerts. And the leveling field between what's happening in DeFi, what's happening in decentralized utility is really this idea of Web 3.0.
It is, Tim. And then also just to note, to launch anything on August 20th is kind of crazy because all of Europe is on holiday. I know my neighbors next door.
That's why Daniele's not here.
That's why Daniele's not here. And my neighbors next door took their oldest daughter to her first year of USC this week, and everybody's doing different things to take advantage of what's left of the summer. So we have a lot of rollouts coming after the American Labor Day, and very excited to start rolling many things out that Tim's just talking about and that we've got in our hopper here. So can't wait to do that.
They're like race horses behind the gates, Dan. They're waiting to go at full speed now. We've been doing so much work behind the gates that it's time to let more people have access.
It is, and we've been using it for years, and I'm excited because I've been telling people about it and showing people, and they want in. So that's pretty exciting too. So Tim, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button. Definitely hit the thumbs up, and we'll be back next week for more. And good luck to you, Tim. I know your steam's coming out of where you are because you're creating all kinds of things right now. And we'll talk to you soon.
I'm in my thinking space.
Yeah. You're in your Zen zone.
Exactly.
So,
all right, Dan, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And as I always say, please stay safe, stay healthy. It's really, we're seeing this next wave come up, and it's really important that we do that. And digital is everything. So stay digital, get tokens, get involved in Web 3.0. That's where we're headed with this whole world from here.
Great. Well, thanks, Tim. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend.